What's up, YouTube? So this video is going to be about the Sweet Pea Mustang, and it used to belong to a guy named Jimmy Moss. He lived down near Shadyside, and basically it was built by TTSaleen, the motor. It was a 632 cubic inch aluminum big block, pretty rowdy. If I remember right, it had the C460 heads on it. When Jimmy was first running the car, it had a tunnel ram and two 4-barrels, like two Dominators on it. And it could run 560s, 570s, all motor in the Sweet Pea Mustang coupe. It was mini tubbed or tubbed in the back, had a 4-link, I believe, under it. Can't remember if that car was ladder bar 4-link. I didn't really work on that car much, but basically, Jimmy had it. He could run mid-high fives with it, about 100 and I think he'd run 118 or so to 120 on it, all motor. And some of the video I'll show you here, it was in Jimmy's driveway. He cranked it up so I could hear it and did a quick burnout. I think it's TTSaleen driving it. And then we went to the track at Shadyside. He made a few hits on it, but if you'll notice something in the video, the car always went to the right. So every time they would leave, that car would launch and it'd just steer to the right. So again,
nothing else. Paint man extraordinaire.
Rusty bought the car. We needed the car basically for the engine. So the combo was he wouldn't sell the engine without selling the car. So Russ was able to buy the whole car from Jimmy. We brought it home. First thing we did was paint it. So you'll see in the video it goes to Chad, my cousin, Chad Pierce, and he sands it down and we paint it like a dark blue. I can't remember the color. Russ picked it out. And the wing on it, it was pretty cool. They had taped out flames on the wing and actually polished in between. So the flames were like a scratched up looking in the metal, and then everything around was polished. It was really neat looking.
Give me a grin for the camera.
Alright.
Come on now. Money green.
About it because he loves the gearhead. So we did go, of course. Whenever we can be the Gordon fan, that's Jeff Gordon. That would be Bernard Daniel Clark. So
We ended up putting some 28s on the car, and when we got it, it had a regular intake manifold and a single carburetor dominator, and we put a nitrous plate on it. Now that car, once we started running that car a little bit, it still went to the right, and we didn't really spend a lot of time with it. We weren't going to keep the car, but we got it up and running for a little bit, and we took the car out, painted it blue, had a big damn horse head hood scoop on it, and the car would run, you know, high fives on motor. And then he sold the car, and part of this video you'll see we actually run that car with another owner and a different motor in it. We got the Zabo silver Mustang, we're at Shadyside, and we actually run this car. So it's beside us doing a burnout, and we run it. And if you watch in the video, the car still goes to the right when they launch. So I forgot what they put in. I think they put a 351 stroker in it, nitrous or something, but they got the car running decent. It was like a mid high five car when we sold it. And long story short, we did all this to get the big block to put it in the Zabo Mustang, which we did. Again, I think I alluded to it in my last video. We could run consistent 530s with that motor and a little shot of nitrous, and we ran 520s at one point, just leaned it out a little bit. I didn't like leaning it out. I kept it a little fat because, well, I didn't talk about in the video, the small blocks did great until we ran quarter mile. And back then we didn't have a lot of time for dyno and air fuel and all that. So what I had it tuned for an 1/8 mile, it was dead perfect. But when we ran a quarter mile, it closed up a ring gap on us. I can't remember if we were at Bowling Green. I think we were at Bowling Green, Kentucky when it did it. And it just didn't like it. The way that cylinder distribution was on it with that plate, and we had a ProFlow, Wilson ProFlow plate on it and a fogger with a small block. I think the plate distribution was just a little off because it was always a corner cylinder that was running leaner. But anyway, we didn't run a quarter that much, and we did, it bit us once or twice there. So ended up going to the big block. We didn't have to spray the mess out of it because it was a big block. You know, it made plenty of power. Again, it was a 560 to 580 car on motor. But we got the car out, got it running, shook it down. We could go 530s anywhere we went with the combination, the big block and plate. And it was just a phenomenal combination. Didn't have to lean on it hard. The car made good power. The car would pull 136 to 140, depending on how we had it tuned and flowed with the fuel on the nitrous side. And it was just a rock solid combination. The car worked. If you'll notice in the Silver Car's last video, we're at Shady Side, we're going rounds, we're beating everybody to death. And the last race we actually lost. And the reason was the tie downs for the front of that car, they broke. So the driver's side, I think it was the driver's side, actually broke on us. And so I had it tied so it would wheelie, but it would actually keep the front end down. So it'd wheelie a little bit, and then it'd go on about 60 foot, the wheels were down, it was gone. Well, that last video, if you watched, he leaves, it goes past the 60 foot, and it's just riding out. Like, it won't coming down, it's just riding out, so. He had to burp the gas and get back in it, and it still went a 550, you know. So the guy we ran, I think, went a 535. So it should have been one of the best races of the night because we were running 530s all day. That guy's running 530s. They both left pretty much even, and then Russ, it just did this power wheelie. It's just rolling out doing a wheelie now. It's moving, like I say, it's moving. When he can burp the gas, get back in it, and still go a 550. Thing was moving, but you see the mile per hour was down where we had to burp it. I think it only went 130, 132, and we were normally run 136, 138. But anyway, just want to give you some perspective about how we got the big block, why we got the big block. We had hurt the small block at a quarter mile race, so the motor was out. We needed the motor for it, and at that point, it's like, let's go big. You know, let's get the big block in it. That's what Keith Zabo ran, so let's get a big block and put it in the car and bring it back full circle. So. Hope you enjoyed the video. Something about the Sweet Pea Mustang. I don't know what happened to the car. The guy we sold it to drove it for a while and ran it, and I lost touch with the car. I don't know what happened to it. But it was well known around the Shady Side parts when Jimmy Moss owned it, and called Sweet Pea. So hope you enjoy this pretty quick video on it, and talk to you soon.